Nintendo is no stranger when it comes to lawsuits. They have sued plenty of people, like a man in California who was selling hacked NES Classic editions and Switch mods. And they also recently settled for $12 million against an Arizona couple who ran the Love ROMs website. But they themselves have also been sued. Just 2 years ago, they were ordered to pay $10 million for a patent infringement case brought on by iLife, a Texas-based company who claimed the Wii controller infringed on their patents concerning motion sensing technology. With all these lawsuits and cases Nintendo is bringing up, it was definitely their time up there in the corporate world. Now down here, with those of us who keep them afloat, it's our time. It's our time down here. We are suing Nintendo, or at least there's a class action being filed against them, which includes everyone who has purchased a Switch or Joy-Con controllers. So I've been fairly familiar with class actions, being a part of them plenty of times over things in the past. I'm sure a lot of you guys have as well. But it's finally time. You know, I'm a Nintendo fan. There's no denying that. But I'm also a big fan of accountability. People need to be held accountable. Companies need to be held accountable to some kind of standard. And Nintendo, they're not above any of that, regardless of how much we love Super Mario, Metroid, Smash Bros, anything. Nintendo still needs to be held to a standard. We've talked a lot about like the Nintendo 64 controllers and how those things grinded away and you got that limp stick syndrome. And that was definitely frustrating. And, you know, there's always going to be a defect rate, regardless of something like that, where that was like a design problem. You know, there's going to be defect rates for sure. A lot of us, you know, over the years with the Nintendo DS, the 3DS, the Switch, other systems from Nintendo or any other company for that matter, there's a very small percentage that winds up having a defect. And a lot of times these companies take care of that. Not a huge deal. Sometimes it gets really blown up and, you know, kind of out of proportion. But with this particular class action, I don't feel anything's being blown out of proportion here. Now, you could say, well, I haven't experienced these issues. You may have not yet. But today we're going to take a look at this a little bit, see why this problem is occurring, and just kind of give you guys my thoughts, which I've already kind of been giving you guys my thoughts here. But the problem is relating to Joy-Con drifting issues. So the company or the law firm, Chimichanga Michaels, Swartz, Kreiner, and Donaldson-Smith, LLP, they're filing this class action. So a class action is typically, you know, there's multiple plaintiffs. This affects a lot of people. So this affects pretty much everybody who has a Nintendo Switch, unless it can be proven that later models of the Joy-Con were modified, which I don't necessarily think they have been. But with the class action, it's a big group of people. If this goes through, typically you're just automatically part of the class if, you know, you qualify. And how would you qualify? You qualify because you bought a Nintendo Switch or Joy-Con controllers. But a lot of times with these class actions, you can exclude yourself if you want to, you know, take it upon yourself and sue on your own, which a lot of times not really worth it. Not with something like this, in my opinion. There could be. I mean, I'm sure somebody will correct me and say, well, I would want to sue them because of this, and there might be a bigger payout. Well, not necessarily. It's just a controller. Unless you bought like 100,000 of them or something like that. If you only have a handful of controllers from them, it's probably best to stay part of the class. So the issue is relating to Joy-Con drifting issues. And have I personally experienced it? Not with my own Nintendo Switch. When I bought my Nintendo Switch, I bought new Joy-Cons because I wanted to switch them out. Man, that green screen's really funking this up. These aren't even green Joy-Cons, they're blue. But I got the neon bundle, right? The orangish red, whatever the hell it's called, and then the blue. And then I bought an extra set so I could change it out, you know, orange or blue or red or blue, whatever the frick the color is. And between those, I haven't experienced that issue. But part of that is also because I hate the Joy-Con controllers and I don't use them for anything. The few times that I have used them, I don't have that drifting issue. And we'll talk about more why I might not have it in a moment, which obviously the root of that is going to be because I don't really use the Joy-Cons. But we do have two Nintendo Switches in my house. My kids have one as well. And theirs was purchased a year after I got mine somewhere around there. And they very rarely use the Joy-Cons either. But my daughter, she would play in handheld mode when, everybody else is doing their own thing, or the TV's occupied, whatever the case may be. Not too often, but every great once in a while, she would play like Splatoon 2. And I remember a few months ago, she was hitting me up. She's like, hey, I think, one of her brothers broke the controller. And it's like, kids, they always they find something wrong. They got to find somebody to blame immediately, right? And I was a little annoyed. And that's when I started digging into this and found, no, this is a problem that a lot of people have, that these Joy-Cons are drifting and having this issue. What does it mean that they're drifting? It's just you don't touch the analog and the control goes off in another direction. Your character's moving or you start to move. It even happens this way too, is everything could seem fine. There's no movement on screen. You start walking with your character, you let it go back to center, and the character's still moving. That happens with their Joy-Cons. And it kind of annoyed me. So I looked it up, tried to figure out how to fix it, opened it up, cleaned it, and it worked for a few weeks. And then again, the problem came back. So definitely something that's annoying to me, because I do have a set, not ones that I use, but I do have a set that has this drifting issue, and my kids don't abuse the system because they know better, because I'm their dad, and they know we take care of these things. We keep our systems clean. We take care of things. We don't throw controllers. We don't get rough with them. So my kids take care of these items. You know what I'm saying? And these controllers in particular, they're not used a lot. They have their own wireless controllers to play their games when they're playing on TV. And that's how they play most of the time. But definitely these drifting issues are going to come about more and more and more the more you use these Joy-Cons. So let's look through this class action real quick and then go and look at why this is happening. So CSK&D has filed a class action against Nintendo of America for claims relating to alleged defects in Joy-Con controllers that are part of the Nintendo Switch gaming console. The complaint, filed in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington, alleges that the Joy-Cons the joysticks on Joy-Con controllers are defective, leading users to experience drift issues. Specifically, the complaint alleges that the joystick on the Joy-Con controllers will automatically register movement when the joystick is not being controlled by the user and interferes with gameplay. And I have seen that firsthand, and it annoyed the crap out of me when I'm sitting there trying to troubleshoot my kid's controller. The complaint, filed on behalf of purchasers of Switches and Joy-Con controllers, bring claims under various consumer protection statutes, as well as various warranty and common law claims. Copy of the complaint can be viewed by clicking here. I think their website's currently down at the moment. So if you this is an archived version of it. I think tons of people have been looking at this, but let's see. Maybe it's back up. Maybe it's not. Oh, here we go. We actually do have it. So we do have the PDF of the class action. So Ryan Diaz is the one who submitted this, it appears. He individually and on behalf of all others similarly, geez, I can't speak. Always those words messing with my brain. Situated by and through counsel, bring this action against Nintendo. So I'm going to download this PDF, and I'll put a link to it just so you guys can go through it if you like. I mean, there's going to be a lot of information here. I believe there's going to be some quotes and whatnot from people on Reddit, different places that have complained about this. You know, right now they're compiling evidence essentially for this lawsuit, for this class action. So they're talking about Mr. Diaz, his situation. He was sent a defective on July 5th, 2018. Mr. Diaz sent the defective Joy-Con controller to Nintendo for repair under the 1-year warranty. For those of us who have had our Switches since day one, like myself, or even shortly thereafter, like my daughter's or my kids' Switch, like they're out of warranty now. So 3 months after receiving his refurbished controller, it began exhibiting the same drifting issue again. So it's just the way these things are designed. But it was no longer under warranty, so Mr. Diaz did not send it in for an out-of-pocket repair. So there you go. That is kind of ridiculous. He had to buy new Joy-Cons, but those will probably wind up having the same issue. So they have a bunch of factual allegations and stuff here. Like I said, you guys can go ahead and take a look at this. I believe they have some more information in here somewhere. concerning, oh, here's all the quotes, concerning possible outcomes, like reimbursement, fixing these things and getting new versions out to people, that kind of thing. So, we'll have to wait and see how this goes down. Wow, this person, I have 8 Joy-Cons and only 2 left. Left ones don't drift. It's ridiculous. Had to buy a Pro controller because of it. Wow. So yeah, they're compiling a lot of evidence, a lot of stories, and it's just the way it is. So if you want to be a part of the investigation, you can go to their website. This part of their website still works. Just looking at that PDF and other things, unless you're going through an archive. Right now, as far as the recording of this, won't come up. But if you want to submit some more information for this investigation, I'll put a link in the description for you for the specific spot where you put in your name, your email, approximately when did you purchase your console and additional Joy-Cons. Like for me, I'd have to look up exactly when I bought my kids' Switch, but it was like within a year. But mine was from day one, and the 2 additional Joy-Cons were day one. I haven't bought anything else other than Pro controllers after that. So all my Joy-Cons are day one. So, I mean, it's pretty easy for me to state when I got them and that they're out of warranty anyway. When did the drifting problems begin to occur? For me, not yet. But you know what? I need mine to be fixed too, because eventually it will happen. Have you contacted Nintendo about the problem? If I contact Nintendo now, they're just going to tell me it's out of warranty, right? So then you can go ahead and give them a brief description of this issue. So there was this Reddit user, Rainbow Python is his name, his or her name, not 100%. You can never be too sure nowadays, but I don't know this person personally, but definitely appreciative of them and their investigative work, being that they're an engineer, from what I understand. They have dug into this and found what the issues are, and they've posted a lot of images, and I will put a link to this as well so you can check it out. So he's talking about how his started drifting, his or her. Like I said, I'm not 100%. Don't mean to offend anybody, but I don't know who this person is. But their controller started drifting, and they decided to take this apart. Let's find out what's going on, right? So you see a lot of this stuff, looks fairly similar to other designs out there for analogs. He or she explains how these things work, or how this particular unit works. And then down here, I believe, after they have everything disassembled, which is really nice, this is where it starts to become where the issue is seen. And you can start seeing this issue like right up. Like, get out of here, you stupid advertisements. You could really start seeing what the issue is these contact pads. Look at how they are scraping away. So that is a big thing. This is a close-up of the contact pad along with the X and Y sliders and Z pusher. With what electrical knowledge I have, my guess as to how these work is that the back pads are a soft printed material, possibly graphite, which that's what it looks like, but who knows for sure, which acts as a sort of resistor potentiometer. My God, I can't read and speak today, but you guys know what the hell I'm saying. The circuit is able to detect where on the pad those metal prongs are by measuring the strength of the electricity coming through the pad. If the slider is farther away, the electricity has to travel through more of the pad and comes out weaker. That's what she said. The computer measures this and translates into X and Y position, I think. Probably correct, though. The contact pad with the X and Y sliders, this illustrates how they come into contact. And here we go. See it yet? I'll zoom in, and they're showing here that these things are grinding away. There it is. See those marks on the pads? Because they are softer material than the metal prongs that rub against them, the pads have wear after heavy use. Kind of sounds familiar to the Nintendo 64 issue, but not exactly. I mean, was there ever a class action against Nintendo back then for that? But a similar type thing where, hey, it's a material degrading another material. And for these things not being out for just a couple years now, it's like, are they designed to be disposable electronics? We have to go buy new Joy-Cons every 2 years. Is this like a smartphone? We got to buy a brand new Switch. I don't know, but that's kind of the annoying thing here is hopefully this wasn't designed this way. Even this person, Rainbow Python, talks about how, it's not like Nintendo made these analogs. They're just like sourced parts essentially. And they're very similar to a lot of things that are used out there. People were saying like the Vita or the PSP analogs were similar, but they're not the same. Like these are upgraded a bit. They're different versions of those kind of things. And they've been out there for a while because they've been used for other products, but the design is just not that great for this system with how they're wearing out, because at some point, no matter how well you take care of your system, your controllers, your Joy-Cons, this grinding away of these pads, these contact pads, is going to degrade so much that you're going to have to take your Joy-Con and just toss it. You're just going to have to get rid of this thing because there's going to be nothing you can do for the average consumer. I'm sure people could figure out replacement parts, things like that, fixing these issues, but that's not what should be a part of our responsibility with a device that's only been out for so long and people were starting to experience shortly after the system came out. So it definitely needs to be addressed. I'm going to be part of this class because why not? I mean, we're all affected or will be affected at some point, and Nintendo needs to fix this and rectify this situation, because the other problem comes in that there's a lot of people excited for the Switch Lite, myself included to a degree. But if these analogs on these, attached Joy-Cons have the same design, if there was no thought put into fixing that, which I would hope they did, you're going to be shit out of luck with this thing 4 to 6 months after you have it. You're going to start having drifting on those analogs, and you're going to have spent $200 on a system that if you don't experience that within the first year, whatever the warranty is, you're going to have to pay to get it fixed, or you're just going to have to buy a new system, or just deal with it, or try to figure out a fix for yourself. So hopefully Nintendo has this squared away and these Switch Lites have a new and improved analog that doesn't have this issue, because my God, I want one of these. I want to support this company. I do like their products, but at the same time, companies need to be held accountable. Companies need to take care of these situations. This is not an issue that is normal. This is not attributed to, regular wear and tear of a product. Taking care of your things, and if it's just being used and it just wears out and it's a controller. We have controllers from 30, 40 years ago that work perfectly to this day. The only thing is you need to keep them clean. I have NES controllers from the 80s, Atari controllers from the early 80s that still work 100%. So they need to be designing these things with the life of the console and beyond in mind. But there you go. Those are my thoughts. I'll put all these links in the description so you can take a look. Really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. With that said, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out. Bye-bye. And boom. Bye. It's freaking hot today, guys. I am sweating my balls off. Bye-bye.